Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here from CubeKing77.com, here to review LG's latest flagship device, the LG G4. They went with a curved design, a very slight curved design this time. I do want to make a note that I'm using the Korean model at the moment, which does not have LTE, so I've been using it on T-Mobile's HSPA Plus, and it's been pretty solid for me. Now let's go ahead and put it to the test, see if it competes with other flagship devices. Alright, so here is the LG G4. Let's go ahead and first talk about the design of it. Pretty similar to previous models, except for this time they went ahead and went with a slight curve, not as big of a curve as the LG G Flex, but still a curve to the device. And I actually like the slight curve to it. It makes it easy to hold and also makes it pretty comfortable as well. And also in comparison to the LG G3, it has a little bit more pointed edges as opposed to a little more rounded on the G3. But still, overall, a very similar design. Let's flip it to the back. In the bottom here, we do have a speaker, which is very good. I would say slightly above average when it comes to how loud it gets and sound quality. However, it is in the back, which I guess I understand with this device because I want to keep that slim form factor, but still, I mean, it's still pretty solid. Anyways, going up here, you do have your volume buttons up and down, and in the middle is the power button, so very similar to previous models. You have your 16 megapixel camera, you have a color sensor right here, LED flash, then you have your laser autofocus. Now I opened up the camera application so you can see the laser autofocus. In person you can't really see that, but on the camera it definitely accentuates it. So continuing on the back, you'll notice there's a bit of a diamond to it. I did not get my hands on the leather back yet, so I can't really compare it to it, but overall it feels kind of smooth. Honestly, there's not crazy amounts of texture to it, but it's still pretty easy to hold. It is all plastic, essentially, all the way around. Left side, absolutely no buttons. Right side, absolutely no buttons. Up at the top, you have an IR blaster and then a microphone slot, and then down at the bottom, another microphone slot, 3.5mm headphone jack, and then a micro USB charging slot. Also notice when this hits a certain light, there's a bit of a texture to it. So hopefully you can see that on the camera, but there's a bit of an interwoven texture that I kind of like. It's just a nice little added touch. And then on the front of the device, no physical or capacitive buttons. Up at the top here, you have your earpiece, which is solid phone quality, absolutely no issues with call quality. Sensors, and you'll see you have an LED flash that just went off, and then you also have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, so there's that little LED flash again. Now I kind of want to talk about durability real quick. Now it is made of plastic essentially all the way around, and I actually dropped it, unfortunately. When I was trying to do a camera test, I dropped it from pretty high up on the sidewalk and I was freaking out, but really no damage obviously to the screen, anything like that. The only damage that occurred to it was in the bottom left here, excuse me. You see that little scratch, and that's essentially it. And then in the upper right hand corner as well, you'll see you got a little bit of damage right there, but overall to the phone, absolutely no damage. I was a little bit nervous because I dropped it from pretty high up. Now let's go ahead and real quick talk about one of the biggest features on here, that's for some people anyways. That would be the removable back, which is why you can kind of replace it with a leather back, etc. You do have a 3000 milliamp hour battery, and then you'll see you can remove it, and then you have a micro SD card slot as well for expandable storage. Comes with 32 gigs. You can throw in a micro SD card slot as well. Now when it comes to that 3000 milliamp hour battery life has been pretty good for me. Honestly, it's a little bit better than the One M9 and the S6. I get about 3 hours and 45 minutes screen on time. You'll see up at the top I have about 25% left at 5 o'clock, so usually gets me just about through the day. However, there is no quick charging and no wireless charging built in. To my knowledge, you can buy a back replacement that's going to allow for wireless charging, but it's not out of the box, which is a little downside for some people. And quick charging, I really miss it. Honestly, I'd rather have worse battery life and quick charging, at least 20-30 minutes less screen on time. All right, and speaking of screen on time, let's go ahead and talk about the display itself. So it's a 5.5 inch display, so a little bit larger than other flagship devices like the M9 and the S6, and it does have a 2560 by 1440 LCD display. Now the display has been really great for me. The screen gets really bright in direct sunlight outside. It's definitely an improvement from the G3. It's really sharp. The colors are really great. They pop a lot. Overall, one of the best displays on the market right now. Definitely competes with the S6 as well. I'll probably do a full comparison of those two devices in the very near future. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about performance of the device. As a lot of you know that do watch my videos, I don't run benchmarks really. I really only care about real world performance. If you're gonna run a benchmark, of course the S6 is going to beat the G4, but what about real world performance? How is that? So LG actually went with a Snapdragon 808 processor, bumping down from the 810, which has there's reasoning behind that. And overall, I have no complaints about speed, fluidity of the device. There's really no hiccups, no lag. Honestly, I can't find any real-world performance when you're going to have issues with speed on the device. Now, there's also 3 GB of RAM, and that's great because it goes well with the performance. Multitasking has been very quick. I honestly have absolutely no issues with multitasking. It's been very good. Now, let's talk about some of the software features. So you can double tap to turn the screen on and off. It has knock codes, so you can tap a certain pattern to unlock the device. Now, when you're on the lock screen, you have various animations to unlock the device, and they're all pretty cool. This was actually my favorite one. Now, another feature is when the screen is off, you can actually double tap the volume up and volume down buttons. You can turn this off if you don't want it, but double tapping volume down actually opens up the camera really quick, so you'll see very quickly there, and it takes a picture. You can have it not take a picture if you'd like. That's up to you, but it will open the camera application. And then also double tap volume up, and you can have a quick note. So if you want to write something really quick, you have that option. Now with the home launcher, you'll see on the left here they have something called Smart Bulletin, which talks about your steps. You have music, smart settings, which I'll get to in a second, your remote, all various things, and you can edit which ones show up. As you can see, these are all your LG apps. You can turn this off if you don't want it within the stock home launcher. Of course, you can add another home launcher as well. And then of course you have your apps, which scroll the way through, and then your widgets that show up as well. Here's another widget that they have on the home screen, which is similar to the G3. They have some other options that you can have, smart notice settings. So you'll see favorite contacts, callback reminders, smart cleaning, smart trips, battery drain, a funny one actually for battery drain. I was playing a game and it came up with a notification and it said, hey, your battery's draining because you're playing this game. Don't use the app if you don't want your battery to drain. Well, I guess that makes sense. If I'm gonna play a game, the battery's gonna go out. So anyways, you'll see here you can have expandable, contractible notifications. I do want to make a note you're running 5.1.1, which is the latest at the moment, so that comes out of the box. So swiping down, you'll see you have your panel right here, which has some quick toggles. You do have a flashlight one, which kind of takes a little bit of time to activate, as you just saw, and deactivate as well. I'm used to it being pretty instant. You can actually edit these buttons along with having brightness and volume. So if I got rid of them, there you go, there they go. That's kind of nice if you want added space for your notifications. And also an interesting feature, or I don't know if this is a feature, but you'll see there's an all interruptions option. You can change that to priority only and no interruptions. So that's going to be silent mode essentially. So, but you can't do that within your volume rockers. So with your volume rockers, you can change it to sound for your ringtone and change it down to vibrate, but that's it. You can't have the priority options. There's no priority. Hitting these settings button just goes to touch feedback and music and multimedia. So very strange that they have it only right here. So if you want to do priority only or no interruptions, you have to do it within this quick widget bar. Another interesting feature is called glance view, and essentially what it is you swipe from the top of the display and you just have a quick glance on your times, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, your battery percentage, and also any specific notifications in the upper left hand corner. Just I guess a quick way to check the time, etc. Now since it runs Lollipop, it does come with some material design. Here's the dialer look to it. You have some nice animations when you press buttons, etc. And you'll see throughout some of the stock apps that they've actually implemented it, such as tasks. You have a nice plus button in the bottom right hand corner, along with the calendar as well. You have a plus right down there. And also what's interesting is that they have Chrome as a default browser. There's absolutely no LG browser included. Now something that it kind of lacks that other devices have, such as the M9 and the S6, is kind of a theme changer. And with some of the apps, you can press and hold on it and drop it back down, and this icon shows up, and you can change the icons, and that's really about it. You can add a new one if you'd like to. You'll see you have a list of an icon gallery if you want just a number, which is kind of material design like, and then you have a bunch of icons right here that you can change it to if you want to change the camera icon as well. I just did right there, but that's really about it for theme changing. All right, I take it back. One more thing that you can kind of edit, these buttons down here. That's kind of a theme change, I guess. You go to display, home touch buttons, and then button combination. You'll see you can add notifications, Q memo, Q slide, and dual window down there. So you can just press on it and then you can add it right up here. So you'll see it just added, and then you can kind of customize how you want them to reorder at the bottom. I guess now's a good time as ever to talk about dual window. So dual window is a feature which I like, however you only have certain app compatibility. So basically you press and drag an app up there, and then let's go ahead and press and drag an app down there, and you can have dual apps going at the same time, which is actually a really neat feature. However, you just have those limited app options. You can flip-flop them. As you can see, you can expand and you can go back to your apps. And then going back into those settings, specifically smart settings, here's a new little added feature. So basically, if you're at home, if you're away, or if an accessory happens, you can do certain actions such as turning Bluetooth on, Wi-Fi on, your sound, changing your sound profile, opening a music application. You can turn those on and off right here, specific ones. So a little nice added feature. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the camera, something that a lot of people have discussed. Now, when it comes to the camera, you have a pretty simple mode actually. So you have options to flip to the 8 megapixel front-facing camera. It takes one of the best selfies out there right now, honestly. So, I mean, if you're a big person that takes selfies, you have that option. So going back, let's flip it to the back. You have mode. So various modes such as panorama and dual mode, which will use the front and rear camera at the same time. Going into settings, you can have HDR mode on. You have your settings where if you want it to be 16:9:4:3. It can shoot in UHD. I have a video recording I'll link to in the description. You have sounds, so you can actually activate it. So if you wanted to say cheese or smile, it will actually take a picture. So cheese. There you go. Took a quick picture like so. All right, and back in the settings, timer and grid line. So let's press the menu button right here. So you have three options. You have auto, which I'm on right now. You have simple, where you can just tap the screen and it takes a very simple picture. And then one of the best features is manual mode. Now, when you're in manual mode, you have so many different options. You can change the ISO, the aperture, white balance, exposure, and focus as well. You can shoot in RAW format, so you'll see JPEG right there, or you can have RAW JPEG, which is great for people that edit photos, etc. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pictures that I've already taken actually, and I've actually posted these on my website. But here's a good look. Here's a nighttime shot, not completely dark yet, but you'll see overall very solid quality. Here's actually a low light picture, and it does I mean, this is actually a low light picture. You don't have to believe me, but it actually is, and it does a really good job at bringing in a lot of light and still not losing a lot of quality. So here's another one with some flowers right there. So overall picture quality has been really great, on par with other flagships such as the S6 and the iPhone 6 Plus as well. So I mean, I give it a huge thumbs up. LG did a great job with the camera, and especially with this manual mode, if you are someone that likes to edit those kind of things, it does a great job. All right, now I just want to give some final thoughts on the LG G4. It's a solid device, honestly. The design's great. I really like the curve. It's comfortable in your hand. The camera's fantastic. The screen is fantastic. It keeps up with the Galaxy S6. Honestly, it really does. You have expandable storage. You have a removable battery as well. And it has a larger display, so if you're someone that wants a larger display than, 5.1 inches on the Galaxy S6, this is another huge plus. So like I said, it keeps up with it in other flagship devices, so I'd say it's a total go. I really like the device. I've had a great experience. Real-world performance has been great. Honestly, gaming, everything like that. I really wish it had quick charging, but it is what it is. So anyways, that's it. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Let me hear from you guys. I might be giving one of these away, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe to me so you're notified of that. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. All links in the description below. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.